Now we'll segue to our next amazing speaker. His name is Jeremy Asgari. Jeremy, I have a background with Jeremy. In full disclosure, I've known Jeremy for about 3 or 4 years. I think at this point, I think actually it's been maybe 4+ years. Hey, Jeremy, what's up?
What's up? How you doing?
What's going on, buddy? What's up? What's up? Lovely background, Jeremy. Lovely
Thank
background.
you.
I was actually expecting you to be streaming from the mountains somewhere, but I'll take that. But I'll take that. So folks, let me just conclude here, and Jeremy, I'll hand it off to you. I'm really excited to have you on. So Jeremy is the founder of Outsiders, which is an amazing community based in New York City, but now launched in Europe, LA.
Stockholm, Sweden for now, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely, and many hubs. Jeremy's planting his seeds in internationally, and what Jeremy's created is a community of outsiders, folks that love hiking, biking, mountain climbing, kayaking. I mean, you name it, anything to do with outdoors. And I'm kind of scared, Jeremy, because I signed up for the September 11th, a bike trip,
Yeah.
and what I hear is that it's a 100-mile trek.
It is. It's 100 miles, but you don't have to do the full 100 miles, so don't worry. You can jump in. I might make you do the full 100 though.
I need to do 100 miles, Jeremy. I need to do it, but I'm really excited and stoked about that. With that said, Jeremy, really excited to have you here, and I'm going to hand it off to you now. Please share your wisdom of physical fitness and outdoors with our wonderful audience, Jeremy. Thanks.
For sure, definitely. First off, I want to say Eric had a great talk. I appreciate that. A lot of topics he touched on as far as approval, stuff that everyone battles with. So do I. Like wondering about physical appearance. Like, do I look all good? Okay, we're good to go. I started Outsiders about 5 years ago. And the truth be told, the reason I started it wasn't with having mental health benefits in mind. It was really just because I was tired of having to socialize in an environment that revolved around consumption. So being in New York City, as most of you know, or any major city, in order to hang out with friends or to socialize, you have to be, the only options you have are what bar, what restaurant you're going to. And in order to socialize, it means you have to consume. I didn't want to have to consume every time I want to socialize. So plus anything that wasn't revolving around consumption was basically exercise related. So, a workout class, a spin class. But if you're actually doing it properly, and I mean like really properly, you're out of breath. You're not really able to socialize. So it came from a selfish place in a sense, because I wanted to create an environment that made me happy to socialize and meet new people. And I quickly found out that, if I had an urge to find a social environment that was conducive to my wants and needs, I couldn't be the only one. So, we started this outdoor adventure club prior with just a bike ride, and we were lucky enough to have Cliff Bar join us as a partner, and it went so well. It was such an amazing experience. At the end of the event, we were approached by a girl saying that she would actually pay a monthly membership to be part of a group like this, and how often we do these kind of events. And we're not a membership-based platform just yet, but we figured we were onto something if somebody was ready to volunteer their money to be part of a group, which is usually not very likely, that we were onto something really good. So since then, we've really expanded. We didn't want to just be a cycling club or hiking group and so on. We wanted to be able to do any activity, anything outdoors and social. And what's funny is I have a close friend of mine, a cousin who operates our Stockholm chapter, and he came to help me set up systems in place for our New York chapter. And he was really, I guess, giving me a hard time and asking me questions about why, what's my passion, what's my purpose, similar to what Eric was saying, my why. And he knew I wasn't really, and surprisingly enough, some of you might be put off by this, but I wasn't really a big outdoors person. I wasn't a granola hiker. I wasn't doing that on my own for fun prior to starting the Outsiders. Since then, I've developed a passion for it because I realized the benefits. But I realized my passion behind it was the community, was building community. Same reason why I was good at nightlife, and that was my background, nightlife, believe it or not. I had longevity in nightlife because I was able to create these communities. And community to me is so essential in mental health, in physical health, and so on, because humans are tribal people. And for me, having that community, having what I like to call a chosen family, is key in um, being healthy with a healthy social life and having that support system. So for me, when the pandemic hit and we had to stop doing our events in March of 2020 and everything shut down, for me, I when things started picking up a little bit in June and people were a little more okay with being outdoors, uh, I decided to do um, free bike rides every Saturday. And people were commending me for doing free bike rides, saying, "Oh, that's a great idea to keep the brand out there and aware. Great thing for the people." And honestly, this might sound really selfish, but I was doing it for myself mostly. I needed something to be social, to have that social fix. And I knew I wasn't the only one. I mean, I spent 3 months by myself. I live alone. I had COVID in March. I was alone for that month and a half. Let's say 2 weeks sick. And then the following 2.5 months, I was alone in my apartment with no human contact. Thankfully, we had FaceTime video calls, the house party app. But I was really missing that human connection. I mean, I didn't see a human being in person for those 2.5 months. So when I did these free bike rides, it was really to fulfill a need I had. And again, if I have this need, I couldn't be the only one. So we were doing these free bike rides, and it was really an amazing outlet. We had a lot of people join us. We had about 40 riders every Saturday, and it really grew into something beautiful. And to this day, we rode about 1,500 miles that summer, and people still talk about and still can connect because of those rides that summer. Um, Thankfully, now we have, yes, 1,500 miles, Roosh. We're holding up to only 100. Um, since then, we've had partnerships. We've had a great partnership with Volvo, which has allowed us to start our partnership, our activities again. We were doing charter buses before that, and now with Volvo, we can do smaller groups, and it's a great partnership because they're all about sustainability, along with our other partners, On Running, Fjellraven, um, Fat Tire, great partners who also are very aware of the health benefits and mental health benefits of being outdoors. So, really quickly, when Sarush and Event Combo asked me to speak here, I asked them for some points they wanted me to touch on, and they provided some great points. So, some of the points are: how are physical wellness and mental wellness related? And what's funny is we have a lot of mental health and physical health benefits with the outsiders, and we touch on those on occasion. But for me, I don't really push that in people's faces as far as join this because these are the mental health benefits you'll be getting. For me, I feel like I might put some people off thinking it's more of a seminar, and it's really about connecting with people, having a good time. But the mental and physical health benefits are these side effects that are greatly appreciated, of course, but sometimes not realized directly. And so physical wellness, it definitely benefits mental wellness because if ever any of you are runners, you've heard of the runner's high, right? So you already understand that exercise facilitates endorphin release. So there are endorphins along with serotonin, dopamine, they're all like the happy hormones. Um, so sorry, I'm reading off my notes, apologize. Other things that boost endorphins are being outdoors. And so there's a few points I always tell people the benefits of outsiders are being outdoors, being active, and being social. And most of the times also being in nature. So being outdoors and in direct sunlight will boost serotonin levels. Exposure to sunlight and boost endorphins, serotonin levels, makes you happy, you're easy to stress. The benefits of being in nature, even viewing scenes of nature, even having a plant in the room, as you see, there's plants in here, makes you feel a lot. But it releases the anger, fear, stress, increases pleasant feelings. It reduces blood pressure, heart rate, lowers heart rate, muscle tension, and the production of stress hormones as well. What's funny is I noticed such a huge difference in the outsiders, the participants, we call them outsiders, on our adventures, and our adventures are our events. And it's from the moment we pick them up. So our adventures kind of look like this: we pick people up in the city, um, and we will pick them up. And in the morning, it's usually 10 a.m. People are kind of quiet, getting used to getting their day started. And this will kind of have that New York City edge, that stressful edge that New Yorkers have, which might be why they're known for being a little unpleasant, which I disagree with. But however, so we leave the city, we get on the highways, and get out to the hike, the trail, and within 30 to 45 minutes of being on this trail, I see the demeanors change entirely. We're out in sunlight, we're in the nature, and we're being active. So all of a sudden, dopamine, serotonin levels increase, and if this makes sense, this should make sense to you guys. But people feel a lot lighter. The stress levels are a lot lower. They're happier because they're in a social environment, so they get to be along with people that have similar common interests, and their goals are to be. They're all like-minded individuals, more or less. So we go from being these stressed out New Yorkers to being people that are coming back from that are being our nature and active and meeting new friends, and it's just such a happy environment. And what's funny is that once in a while I'll notice on the way back to the city, not only are we still in a better environment, but we do get that kind of stress coming back a little bit. Now we're in a better place than we were had we not gone out to nature, but the city environment, as you all know, people who live in the city, it can be stressful, and just the environment, just the I guess the amount of sensory overload we have is not necessarily normal. It's not natural for us. So um, without pushing it into people's faces about the benefits of health and mental health, those are our side effects. And I'm glad that that's something that people have touched on without even me mentioning it. Let's see what else I have as far as notes go. Being active for me has been extremely helpful. I come from an environment. My previous career was nightlife, so as you know, the benefits of nightlife, I think there are some mental health benefits as far as being social, but the environment is completely negative in the sense of what it's associated with alcohol, sometimes drugs. Not for me, never did that. And I always saw it as a business, but it's not something that people view as healthy for you, right? And it typically isn't. So for me, going into a realm of the outdoor active lifestyle was so much of a healthier change for me. And moving forward with outsiders, what we're doing is these international trips and so on. I think bringing people together for me is the biggest thing, mental health wise, and from there, I hope that we can continue going to other cities, because these major cities are anywhere can benefit from this. Anyone can benefit from this, but the major cities are the ones that suffer from the urban stresses the most. So look out for. If I'm not sure if there are any viewers from other cities in the states, but we're looking to open up in Chicago, LA. We're in Stockholm already, and expand in New York City. Take a look at the other points that they wanted me to cover. But one more thing about outsiders, other than the benefits of mental health and physical, there are benefits of sociological benefits in the sense where we've really been about diversity, and anything I've ever done event-wise has been about being diverse. And I always use this as an example for those of you from New York. I try to bring a piece of 90s nightlife, New York City nightlife, into the outdoors. And what I mean by that is back in the 90s when I first started going out, or maybe just aspiring to go out, nightlife venues were so big that they held thousands of people. And now they become a lot smaller, and each venue and each night is specific to one demographic. So diversity in nightlife in the 90s was you see gay, straight, black, white, all races, different dynamics, drag queens talking to the hip hop guys, and you don't see that anymore. And I want to bring that to nightlife I mean, into outsiders, because uh, in society, you see a lot of these groups that are specific to, you know, women hiking or minorities hiking, but bringing them all together is a great way for people to experience different cultures and so on. So for us, keeping it diverse in regards to race, sexual orientation, gender, age, as well as socioeconomic status is important, and we do so by offsetting our costs with our partnerships. So I think that's the last thing I have to say about that. And I see Sarucha chimed down, which probably means I'm running low on time. So
No, 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 no. You're totally no, Jeremy. The whole time you were speaking, everything you said, I wanted to jump in and just talk with you, because everything you touched on obviously really really important and interesting. But I wanted to obviously give you the time, so I figured it was time to just come in and engage with you because I couldn't hold back anymore. So Jeremy, the first thing you brought this up yourself, so I want to ask you, what was you mentioned some of the things, right? It's a poisonous environment, negative environment, drugs, alcohol. You have all these negative influences in the nightlife industry. Besides those factors, when did you decide to fully leave the nightlife industry? Which, I'm still thinking you're going to go back to it when the things open up again. But it sounds like you've decided. So, when did that happen and why?
Clarify, there are some benefits to nightlife, right? There are people coming together and being experiencing making memories together in an environment which is supposed to be happy. I touched on some of the negative factors because that's what a lot of people tend to think of when you tell them you work in nightlife. Right. But don't get it twisted. There are definitely some positive aspects of nightlife, of course. I've wanted to find an exit strategy to nightlife for like a decade now, but definitely for the last 7 years. And when I decided to completely leave was because of the pandemic. I mean, things were closed. So, outsiders, because that was the only thing I could do work-wise from my history. That's when I decided not to go back. And I was fortunate enough to be in a situation now where I don't have to go back. And honestly, a lot of my network has been there, done that. And the great thing about outsiders is that you can't really age out of it. And it's, in nightlife, our age group was 21 to 35, 40, if you're lucky, but honestly, it was more or less 21 to early 30s. Mm-hmm. The outdoors, I mean, people ask us about the age group. We post stuff on social media. A lot of our photos are people that are usually a bit younger or, 20s or 30s, but we have people that show up that are 50s, 60s, 70s. Anyone who could actually participate in the activity can do this. And we aren't comprised of outdoor experts and enthusiasts. These are normal folks. So if you feel like you're beginner level and you may not be able to keep up, you're wrong, because a lot of people are beginners. So, and a lot of people come by themselves. That's another question we get.
Yeah, no, and you segued perfectly into my other areas of interest. So nightlife, totally get it, makes sense. Obviously, you grew out of it, right, Jeremy? I mean, that's really what it comes out to.
It wasn't fulfilling for me anymore. I still enjoy going out on occasion, but making that my primary source of income and my life's passion, it was no longer that.
Absolutely makes sense. The name of your show is Inside with Outsiders. Quickly, just speak about that concept. Why did you start that? I've already, I'm a big fan already. I've been checking out all the shows, but what's the genesis of that?
So I've always wanted to feature the interesting people in my life. I've known people that, like me, people ask, what exactly do you do for a living? Like, how do you make your money? I don't live your traditional, live by societal standards, right? So being that I know a lot of people like that, again, their stories are interesting. The human story in general is interesting, but the reason we're doing it also is because we're community focused. I feel like hearing the community members' stories will bring people closer to each other in the sense where you get to know more about the person, and therefore if something resonates with you that they've spoken about or experienced, you can always speak to them about it and feel more of a connection. So it's all about increasing the connections.
Got it. Yeah. Based on what I've seen so far, I mean, it's great, excellent programming. I love your studio. You've got your sponsors, Fat Tire, and everything else. And I love the guests that you've had on. I'm really looking forward to participating in that experience. I'm surprised, frankly, that you're doing a indoor experience.
Well,
Of
think about it. It's a play on words. It's inside because we're physically
of
inside,
course.
but inside with outsiders in the sense
I love
we're
it.
inside the
Yeah,
community.
yeah, I love it. Everything about that show, Jeremy, A to Z. I love it. I totally love it. I'm looking
I
forward
appreciate it. I can't wait to have you on.
to that. We're gonna.
And I do want to say one more thing.
Mhm.
It's been a pleasure working with you, Sharush, as
Yeah,
far as the Event
stop.
Combo as a platform.
Yeah.
We've been fortunate enough to. I met Sharush a few years ago, 5 or 6 years ago at this point. And any sort of changes or any advice, any tips, we say, hey, it would be great to have this. Sarush is right on it and has basically molded Event Combo to a lot of our needs. So if it weren't for you, that we wouldn't have the user-friendly ticketing platform we have now.
Thank you so much, Jeremy. I really appreciate that. We're gonna coach you on that, and we're gonna publish this.
Please do.
Thank you so much, Jeremy. Such a pleasure. I'll see you soon, my man. Thank you. Thanks so much.